All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. We are live from Shanghai, China with the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational, the first major of its kind, $1 million prize pool. Once again, $450,000 for first place. I think it's safe to say if you're winning here, you're already like on the top 100 like esports earners or something, because that prize pool is staggering, especially because you don't have to share it. It's all yours. It's not a team game. But it's all dramatics here because we have one of our favorites, Q, on the verge of being eliminated. We have a lot of back and forth performances from some of our players, Monty winning and then not doing so well. Then we have Azu, who I think is really lifting himself amongst the pack, getting top 2 in both the first 2 games. We have Disowned, who we were thinking would do a little bit better, but he's finding himself at the bottom. So pretty dramatic here going into game 3. How are you guys feeling about what's going on?
I'm kind of a little disappointed that we're seeing Azu at the top right now. Not because he's a good player, but it's the fact that of all the players to be at the top right now, it's the guy who won Glacial Knights, like both rounds. Like I get that they're strong, it's a good comp. I was just hoping that like please someone do something really fun and smart and like off the wall. And I guess like Monty did it the very first round, but it's like I don't know.
In all fairness, though, Azu did do Glacier Knights better than the other players last round because he was lose streaking and doing that same type of night gamble, but he didn't lose his lose streak, which is why he was able to finish second compared to Monty finishing 7th. So there is a little bit more strategy into it, but like you said, just going comp-wise specifically.
No, I understand. I understand why he's in the lead right now. He's an incredibly strong player, but it's the fact that it's just the contrarian in me wanted to see something fun.
Yeah, a couple questions for you guys that I'll leave you with as I take my leave here as we get into game 3. One, we saw a moment in the last game where like 3 players got eliminated at the same time. The importance of like staying as long as possible because those points are very important. And another thing is the information game. How will the players who are at the bottom try to really analyze what maybe the players at the top are doing, and how might that consider into their strategy? So those are 2 questions I just want to leave you with. But for now, we're going to take a look at what Disowned has to say about his mentality coming into this tournament.
I think I have quite a clear mindset. I actually play professional sport. That's what I do for a living. So I'm really good at going into a game and resetting my mental and coming out with the best game that I can put forward. So I'll just be looking to try and take each game at a time and see how it goes from there.
I mean, if there's any sort of situation that you're really gonna put those words from Disowned to the test, it's gonna be right now. Because he's in a really rough spot. Hopefully that sort of mental game that he is, I guess, flaunting come out on top and allow him to just stay steady, stay strong, and find a proper opening this time around to get a good placement in order to try and crawl back into top 4. Nonetheless, this is the last game, the 3rd game, round 3 of Group A of the quarterfinals of the Shanghai Auto Chess Invitational. I'm Cameron Davis, run by Claytano.
Yeah, I think the main 2 to watch in this game are going to be the ones on the bubble right now. Yeah. And that's actually going to be Shake at 4th place with 11 points and Monty in 5th place with 10 points. So really, if nothing too crazy happens with Disowned, DK, and Q, those are the ones that are going to either move on by 1 point or not move on by 1 point. And I think if Monty can at least tie in points with Shake, having an extra win under his belt will give him that tiebreaker to move on. Yeah. But Monty is just looking at Shake, and Shake is just looking at Monty. Those are the main 2. As long as they're getting kind of over their opponent, then that's all that really matters for them. Of course, Disowned, DK, and Q, that's a whole nother story. They need to not only win, but they need to have a lot of other things happen at the same time.
So for those players that really need to have something big come out, what sort of gameplay do you expect to see from them? The players that need to go big or go home, can they just rely on the strength of Glacial, the strength and stability of Glacial Knights to give them a top placement, or do they need to go something in the matter of like a Goblin gamble? I mean, Disowned, he already has 2 2-star Skybreakers. Does he want to lean into the Goblin mechs even harder this round?
Honestly, I would say no. Goblin mechs aren't even really that strong right now, with mages being so dominant as well. So trying to get 1st place with Goblin mechs, I don't think that might be the strategy. I would say something along the lines of mages and knights are still going to be your best bet at getting first because you need first. If you have 3 points, you need 9 to get above those 11 points, which is in 4th right now. So you need 9th. And then you also need Shake to get last place and Monty to get second to last place. If those 2 things don't happen, then you don't have a chance even if you do get first.
Yeah, that's kind of the worst situation to be in, is relying on other people performing poorly as well as yourself performing the best that you can. He's just using the Skybreakers disowned in order to keep that win streak up, because one of the things that bit him was the fact that he went off of a lose streak, and that means that you don't have the resource of your health pool to sort of like fall back on in order to get back into the game once you stop streaking, once you roll down. Looking at Shake right now, though, he's got a couple of 2 stars on his own, and he's rolling a little bit of Assassin right now. It's not a full commitment just yet. I really hope that it will be at some point because I love Assassins that much, but at least for now, it's these players, especially the ones on the bubble, the ones that need to go big, they may be a little worried about lose streak, and they just want to go for the win streak while they can right now.
Yeah, and I also think that's something from like I would say Azu is pretty much guaranteed to move on, so he doesn't really need to do too much. He's just kind of out for a test run right now because he's on. If he finishes first in this lobby, he might get a little bit better seeding going into the next round, but he's already sealed himself that spot.
Yeah, he's pretty confident right now, so he just needs to play safe. I mean, I would love it if he would try and pull out the trolliest build that he could find just because he is that comfortable, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, why not though, right?
Why not? Why not? Yeah, come on, bring us some. Let's go all feathered.
Yeah, 9 feathered. Maybe throw a 10th in there.
Yeah.
Throw an egg in there, why not?
Just like egg. Somehow find a way to put the egg on the board, just rolling around.
But look at that start for Azu already, though. It's
pretty good.
It's about as good as you can get. 2 2-star Soul Breakers. You also have the Skybreaker and Heaven Bomber and a 2-star Swordman all at round 8. Are you kidding me?
If this, I mean, it's way too early to make this call, but just looking at this lead, if Azu's able to turn this into like a really big, massive advantage, imagine going into the semifinals off of a second place, and then a first place.
Yeah, that's a huge confidence boost in $1 million tournament for sure. It would be nice to see him go possibly a Goblin Gamble though. So far ahead already. You already have 2 Soul Breaker 2 stars, and a couple things on the bench as well. Like, yeah, why not?
And it's iconic too, the Goblin Gamble.
Yeah, everybody loves to see it. He does level up here to keep his win streak going. Has value on the bench to actually throw in. So not necessarily just leveling to level to throw in like another Taboo Witch or something, but leveling because he got that 2-star Red Axe Chief to add in some extra real value.
Round 9. Getting to the point they're about to hit the mid game right now, and a lot of these players, not all of them have the 2 stars that we see Azu with. He's very much in the 1%, very high rolling on everyone else into that. But even here, Q, his comp wasn't looking that bad, but Shredded is, well, shredding through all of it with his own comp. DK at the bottom, Q at the bottom, Shake at the bottom, Monty at the bottom. This, again, it's a little bit too early to call, but I don't know. Some of these players, not exactly the start on the last round that they were wanting. Others, this is a good start. Disowned in 2nd place right now. Shredded in 3rd. Hosanna in 4th. Should be easy enough for him to keep himself into this as well.
Shredded actually sticking to that same strategy that he's had every single round so far, picking up a couple of those 2-star warriors and then transitioning into something that he can find later on, which has been doing really well for him. And it's no surprise it's doing well for him again in Game 3 going into round 10. Very healthy. Again, his economy, though, is a little bit lower than the rest of the lobby almost every single game going into round 10, but he is rewarded with that extra HP, which is actually gave him several points that are allowing him to essentially move on.
Actually, and the HP is an important thing. Before we entered the game, Axel did bring up the idea, the concept of sort of when you get multiple players that go out within the same round, it's a game of seconds on what position they get, and that could be a make or break moment. Is that something that you really want to play for? That just actually goes to show you that the strength of your health resource is stronger than I think some like the habitual lose streakers may be taking it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we kind of knew going into this tournament is that with the higher level of players, they know how to punish those people that are lose streaking or just even trying to kind of grasp their way back into it, which is what I think Disown might have fallen into that trap a little bit. We saw Q kind of fall into that trap as well, and it's just hard to come back from a lose streak where you don't have much HP to work with against players that are as strong as the ones in here.
It's the damage by Shredded. One of the things that really punishes lose streakers, which not to say that Disowned is. I think this is the first time Disowned took some damage in a little bit. He's been on a good enough win streak for himself, but it's just the summons. That almost kind of makes it worse. That adds even more damage at the end of the round, coming in from the Werewolf as well as the Poisonous Worm from Shredded.
Yeah.
Just those tiny metrics, like just that little bit of extra damage thrown in at the end there.
Yeah, Shredded's just trying to knock people out as quick as he can because he's like, all right, let's move on to round two, you know?
There's a McDonald's downstairs. I'm feeling hungry. Let's go.
Yeah, he's like, let's get this over with.
I mean, but it's true though. His board is looking very, very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, let's take a look at Monty and Shake because those are the ones that are really kind of pulling for it, which is a little unfortunate for Monty having such a strong game one
he won
to even
the first game.
be in this situation where he could potentially not move on, right? So him and Shake right now are kind of playing against each other. Which,
and
both lost.
They both lost a fair bit of damage. They're both down in the bottom four, which, even though it's still early on in the game,
exactly the same amount of HP.
Exactly the same amount of HP, and it's a pretty sizable gap. It's 22 points between them and fourth place, which it's not an insurmountable gap there. They are still above 50 HP, and that's kind of when they're in the safe enough zone, you would say. But that HP difference could be a big difference once we hit the late game if either Shake or Monty do find themselves in like a make or break moment where they can either go out in sixth place or go out in second.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird build. Not a weird build, but just an old build going Assassins, and he doesn't even have Goblins right now activated. He just has a Heaven Bomber as his front line. So Shake, honestly, not really looking too strong in my opinion. Assassins are something that you need to play from a win streak and just kind of play off of that and continue to high roll all those Assassins, get a 3-star Shadow Crawler, things like that. So I'm a little nervous for Shake. Monty, on the other hand, as far as his comp is concerned, I want to see what Monty's running with his comp here. He's actually going Hunters again, kind of going back to that tried and true that won him the game round one, and he's got a pair of snipers already. He's got 46 gold compared to Shake only at 30 gold. So he does have the slight advantage over the person that he's trying to beat right now. Again, that's all he cares about is Shake. As long as he can get one placement above Shake, that's about it. That's all he needs.
That's all he needs, but still, that's kind of unreliable, and they're both sitting on a knife's edge right now, being in the bottom half. And Hunters, it wasn't even the Hunters that won him the game. It was actually a win streaking off of high rolling that got him into the position to win the game off of a 3-star tier 4 unit. He doesn't even have the level 2 sniper right now. I think in game one, that was the thing that he was leaning on in order to win, and he's getting, he's losing to Azu once again, which Azu, still 100% HP. He's doing really well for himself, but nonetheless, you don't want to be losing this much health in the early game when you're on the bubble, when you're on the edge.
Yeah. If you're lose streaking right now, you do not want to get put up against Azu, because not only is he going to beat you,
gonna break that streak,
he's also going to hit you for a surmountable amount of damage.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Like, Monty got dropped down from 50-something health all the way down to 39. Yeah. Granted, that's still above Q, who was the favorite, one of the favorites to win this entire event. Went out in what was that? 7th place, 6th place, and then now in 8th. Really close to going out early once again. He's in the same.
His build isn't even looking
it's not a build.
Strong.
He's still finding something. He's still scrambling for some opening into a tier 1.5 build to take this game back. I mean,
he is close to a 3-star Aegis Ranger, which we actually saw him pick up really early on last game as well, which didn't really do much for him.
Didn't do anything though.
No, and honestly, Aegis Ranger is one of those where even if you do get it to 3-star, it's still going to do less damage than probably your 2-star Dwarf Sniper will when it comes to late game. So it's not really costing him too much gold. It's 5 gold sitting on his bench right now where he's not really taking too much advantage of it otherwise. But at the same time,
He doesn't
It's looking not the greatest for Q. He's got to start rolling down, using that gold. Don't go below 30 HP.
Yeah.
If he goes below 30 HP, he's in a lobby that's not gonna, give him any leeway for that.
So he's got the 3-star Gersis Ranger right now, but doesn't even have the Hunter buff activated because it's that plus a 1-star Wind Ranger. He's got the Warrior frontline, and he has the Agursis, but without any real damage dealers, the Agursis synergy isn't going to be doing a lot for him as well because it's only going to... The Agursis synergy is not like a flat increase, it's a percentage increase, but when your percentage increase is on something that's low to begin with, it's not going to be as impactful.
Yeah, and he's up against Hosanna right now playing Beast Warriors, so this could potentially hurt a little bit if he isn't able to come out on top. Now that 2-star Swordman though, or 1-star Swordman for him, it actually did quite a bit, but not going to be enough. Q is going to take even more damage here.
Okay.
Potentially.
He's kind of coming back. He's making it a lot closer than it looked in the very beginning. If he can just take out this Red X Chief, the heal from the Centaur is not going to be enough. It's going to be the 3-star that saves him in the end, so he's able to get a win under his belt right now, and his economy is looking good. He's going to want to level up. He's going to want to roll down, and he's not in last place anymore. He's been undertaken by DK again.
The Zone actually going for a Goblin Gamble, it looks like here. Pretty much playing all the pieces, but we also see Azu almost doing the exact same thing on his end. So actually switching out a little bit now from his original plan, so probably because he saw Disown going for the Goblin Gamble.
And also, Azu doesn't need to make that gamble. He's in a comfortable spot right now. He has more than enough time, more than enough room to sort of transition into another build, and it looks like it's going to be another Warrior-centric one with a couple of Hunters on the back line if he can get that working.
Yeah, which is interesting for him to choose Hunters to transition into. With Q playing Hunters, I believe Monty is also playing Hunters again as well, so something to start contesting units.
Once again, you know what I see? Only one Knight player.
Yeah.
Are Knights just that bad? Azu's got second place twice with Knights Glacial. Why is no one else going Knights?
It might be the same. Okay, so the psychology behind it is going into game 1, everybody thought that everybody was going to run Knights. And then they didn't. And then game 2, everybody thought that no one was going to run Knights, so then everybody ran Knights.
Yeah.
And then going into game 3, people thought that everybody was going to run Knights, so nobody's running Knights.
Okay, so here's the thing though. Azu got second with the Knights on both rounds with no one and everyone with Knight. That just goes to, sure, he may have rolled better than other Knights players on the second round, but still that goes to show the stability of Knights, if anything. The fact that no one is even sideboarding Knights for the option is, I think, the thing that's really shocking. When you do see people contesting your build, it becomes a choice. Do I want to play this game of chicken with them, or do I just want to make the call to pull off? But no one is even putting themselves in that position to make
the
that
option.
Call. Exactly.
Yeah, they don't have the option. And at this point, DK is at 14% HP, so we might actually have ourselves a game where nobody's running Knights very quickly
very
here.
soon.
If DK does go out 8th place here, that means Disowned and Q are automatically out.
Yeah, actually, that is true. Which is going to be huge. You can see Disowned, he's trying to claw his way back into this. He's down to 4th right now from the 2nd than he was just a couple of rounds ago, but he's always staring at the bottom of this lobby, being like, come on, DK, you can do it now. DK's board, it's looking pretty strong despite the fact that he's in 8th place. He's level 7 right now, should be close enough to get level 8 on round 21. He's got 2 2-star Lightblade Knights on the road to get the 3-star at some point up against Shredded, who we've seen Shredded tear through a couple of different teams, but he's having a bit harder for time, but it looks like Shredded is going to come out on top once again.
I think
is this enough?
Close to enough damage, maybe a couple HP left.
This is going to be Monty's under 13 HP, but down 1 HP on DK.
Monty, though, let's take a look at him because he is very, very close to being eliminated from this tournament right now. He's at 13% HP. He's got 60 gold, 50 gold going into this round, but what I noticed is that Shake actually rolled down a couple rounds earlier, which gave him that advantage to keep that 40% HP and kind of hold on to that and value it more than Monty playing it a little bit more risky, which I don't think he really needed to play this risky and greed over that 50 gold. I think he needed to spend it, get some of his upgrades for that front line that he's looking for as well. So that way he can save that HP and potentially propel himself over Shakes. But I would assume that we're going to see a huge action per minute or APM round next round 21 for Monty.
Yeah, and just 2-star Hunters is really strong, but just the way that Auto Battlers play and the way that Auto Chess plays, in a way, your front line is more important by a huge margin than your back line, because if your front line gets deleted immediately, then your back line is just like getting hailed, like tons of fists and bullets railed down upon them, and they're not going to stay alive enough to do the damage that you expect to come out from those players. Looking at the items right now, a couple of big name items. I think we saw a Refresher Orb on someone. I believe that was on Disowned earlier.
And Monty spending all of his gold as we kind of expected, but unfortunately not really getting that great of upgrades. So this might spell disaster for Monty if he gets put up against the wrong player.
Upgrades on the side of DK. I think I saw a couple come in, but Monty, the damage is just not there. And he's going up against the top player, Ozzy, right now. This is the worst player that you want to be up against when your life is on the line. He could very easily go out in 8th or 7th, depending on how DK favors him.
He's going to be good for now. Barely, but good for now. DK still... Oh, actually, Monty able to come out on top.
Just barely able to save himself. DK as well, so both of the bottom players stay alive at least for one more round, but it is close nonetheless. Neither of those two boards won confidently.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would assume that he's going to get rid of his extra Dwarf Snipers on the bench there to go for those upgrades on the front line. He's one Doom away from an upgrade. I believe he's now just one Pirate Captain away from an upgrade as well. So looking to try to just hang on until those come through and then hope that it's enough to sustain here. But Hosanna actually has a Unicorn in play here for not sure exactly what reason. He's only got 3 out of 4 beasts, so it's not like it's giving him a 4th beast. I would definitely say that that 2-star Swordman sitting on his bench is much more valuable than a Unicorn. But I mean, Hosanna in 2nd place right now overall.
I mean, can't default.
Still sitting pretty.
He must know something that we don't to be sitting in 2nd place right now. DK, he is going to go out in 8th place. That is, I believe, 2 8th place in a row for that individual. Monty staying alive with 2 HP just barely after getting decimated again by Azu. That was... Is that Azu twice in a row?
I believe
it was close to.
I believe so. And with DK going out this round, it could actually be 3 times in a row, unfortunately. But Shake not too far behind Monty here with 32% HP, but
it's a clear difference behind. Shake can lose at least 1, quite possibly 2 rounds before he is like it'll basically take around 3 rounds, I assume, for Shake to go out. Monty cannot lose a single round right now.
Monty did pick up a couple of his frontline units with Pirate Captain and Doom pretty much on the same turn, and he's up against Hunters though. It's kind of a counter to Hunters against Assassins is kind of a counter, unfortunately, but he's got to come back and help out his backline now.
The damage from the Doom and the damage from the Ghost Ship coming out from the Pirate Captain could very well be enough. See, it's coming immediately on the Lord of Sand, going to stun him, they're going to take him out. And so the front line does have enough damage for Monty to survive, but yeah, the back line just immediately deleted. You can see the minute that the front line of Monty jumped forward and the Assassins got on his back line, the fear in the eyes of those ranged Hunters was just bone-chilling.
At least he didn't get put up against Azu.
Yes, that's true. He's able to stay alive, 2 HP, gets the upgrade on the Venomancer as well.
Nice. Now he's just 1 major upgrade away with the 2-star Soul Reaper, which would actually be a huge final upgrade and kind of just say that, you know, this is the best his team is going to get for quite some time now once he gets that 2-star Soul Reaper. That's the only thing he's really looking for. Taking a look at Q, who's also on the chopping block. At this point, I think we said that there's no way that he can move on, but he is Goblin gambling. What would you like to see? 3-star Venomancer.
Yeah, disowned right now. 3-star Venomancer of any of the Goblins to have. Doesn't have like the big tier 5 goblin unit that you need in order to make this gamble work, but he is just carrying through Q. Looking back here on Monty's board, he has the advantage against Azu, so he's actually able to turn it back into his favor. This just goes to show that finding those upgrades on Monty's front line gave him such a big power spike. He's able to take on with heavy confidence the top leader of this lobby. 2 HP, he should not feel comfortable right now, but this is still the potential for Monty to climb back and overtake Shake on that bubble of qualification into the semifinals.
Yeah, there's a lot of strong players in the lobby right now, so going up against them, it's almost a kind of a little bit of an RNG focus on who's going to be able to beat you if you're in Monty's situation. Shake does actually lose to Disowned last round as well with that huge Venomancer that we saw from Disowned.
Yeah, didn't take a lot of damage from that. I think it was only around 4 or 5, or it was 5, I think. He was at 32 previously. But yeah, that is still something. Monty trying to claw back into this. Should be able to take this neutral round easily. Hopefully find the items that he needs. In a comp like this, in a sort of warrior hunter comp that he's rolling, what are the really key items that you want to have on your carries?
He's going to be looking for, obviously, some damage for his Dwarf Sniper, which right now, a Frantic Mask would actually be the best bet, especially with a Mealstorm already on it. So he just needs a wooden stick. Something along the lines of a Heart of Tarask would be great, or even a Heaven's Gift, which he's so close to both of those, honestly. Those could be huge upgrades, especially on Doom. He gets his 2-star Soul Reaper just when he needs it with 3 gold left.
Speaking of upgrades, that's going to be a good one for him to grab. He's actually going to throw Werewolf in the back as well, I believe, to protect his Hunters and his Warlocks from any potential Assassins or any sort of, I guess, just backline attackers.
Yeah, up against Susana here with that Warrior Beast, I think Monty should be okay. And yeah, he's that Siren ultimate right there, kind of freezing everybody, slowing down the attack speed of the Berserker as well. I think he should be okay.
But the Ghost Ship, that might be turning in the favor of Berserker. Okay, he swapped multiple targets, and that's going to slow down his attack, but it got a little close, a bit close for Monty there. The Ghost Ship, that's such an impactful ability coming out from the Pirate Captain.
Shake at 14% HP now. That gap is closing quickly for Shake, and he's just praying every single round that Monty is going out before him. That's all they're hoping for.
He is committing to the Assassins, and that's what I like to see. It's one of my favorite synergies for the longest time. And he has the 3-star Razorback as well, which is a big tank upgrade, and that's what you need, as well as with just it's only the level 1 beast synergy, but it is still something to have there for even bigger damage boost on your Assassins.
Up against Disowned, massive Goblin team here with the Venomancer, which he's lost to before in the past heavily. This could actually be it for Shake if he's not able to get through here. But I think he's killed enough so far where he's gonna be okay.
Oh,
Monty on the other hand,
not.
Monty's okay. Shake is gonna take damage, but not die.
Not die, but still, he's losing more and more health each round.
Down to a 5 HP difference between the two players that are on the bubble right now, between Shake and Monty. And at this point, if I were Shake, thinking of something that he can do to for sure, sell the Abyssal Guard or Abyssal Crawler right now, go for that extra Shadow Crawler.
You got to find them. You're 2 away. 3-star Shadow Crawler is such an important pickup. That, like, when you talk about Knights, you talk about the 3-star Lightblade Knight. We're talking about Assassins. It is the 3-star Abyssal Crawler.
Granted, even if he did sell the 3-star,
it still wouldn't be enough.
It wouldn't be enough, even if he rolled two Shadow Crawlers on the same shop. Yeah.
But he's so close. He's so close is the point. He just needs to stay alive just a little bit longer. But going up against Shredded, we've seen how strong this guy was previously in this round. We don't know how his power spike has been able to keep up. And actually, the Razor Claw, I don't think was able to summon the bear, so that's a really big defeat against Shake.
Shake is going to
go out.
Monty, though, also going
out. Who's going out first? This could be huge. This is a 1-point difference.
Oh, Monty takes 7th place. Shake going to take 6th place, so that is going to be it for Monty.
That is a heartbreak. He was doing so well on the last few rounds, and he even goes out just like 3 seconds before Shake does. That is the worst situation for a player to be in.
To know that that's the one player that you had to beat.
But what does this do for Disowned? We talked about him in the very beginning of the round. Shake and Monty are the 2 players on the bubble that he was looking to replace, and if he performs well, it could be close and it could be possible.
DAZN had 3 points coming into this game.
Okay.
Monty had 10 and
Okay.
Shake had 11. So now Monty's got 11 and Shake has 12. Or
Okay.
13. 13.
Monty has 12, Shake has 13.
So there's no chance.
That's even worse, actually, even if DAZN wins this, which he's in 3rd place right now, but he's not far away from the top spot. But anyway, we're still looking at Q, who is in the top position. But again, will this be enough? Hosanna in 2nd place, coming off of a very good win on the last round. And Azu, though, not in 2nd place just yet, but we've seen him climb up from similar positions to net another 2nd place.
At this point, Q, Shake, Monty, Q, Monty, DK, and DAZN are actually going to be eliminated from the tournament already, as we know. Of course, fighting for those position spots now to give yourself a better matchup going into tomorrow's round is what they're playing for now. Azu down to 10% HP, Shredded also at 11%. Kind of on the chopping block a little bit, but Hosanna is the other one that could actually take first in this Group A here.
Yeah, could be big. He came off of a really good 2nd round. Still looking at DAZN though. Going to be going for the Goblin Gamble at some point, I think. Yeah, not able to find it. That's such a huge piece of the puzzle. It's the 6th Goblin.
Yeah, at level 8 though, it is a little bit of a prayer to try to get Devastator. Of course, he's at 20 gold, and as far as getting up to level 9, it might be too much of a stretch for him at this point. But again, it's
again, we'll see.
Why not? We like to see the Goblin Gamble.
Exactly.
He's giving it to us at least for the last game here, and yeah.
Losing is your destiny.
Look at the items right now. A lot of players, a lot of good items on some good units here. Anything stand out to you from this board?
I mean, the Refresher Orb on Dark Spirit for DAZN is pretty crazy. The Refresher Orb on Siren also very nice for Azu, and I would say Azu's got the upper hand right now, has a decent amount of CC items as well as damage items at the same time.
I don't think we're seeing we're talking about how the fact that we didn't see a lot of knights on the first 2 rounds, we didn't see a lot of mages. I don't think we're seeing a single knight or dragon mage comp within these 5 players. So this is actually not even talking about how this affects this group. This is the final round, and it is unfortunate to say, but as you said earlier, it's kind of all said and done on who's qualifying and who's not. However, this is a nice little teaser into what could happen the rest of this weekend, where the comps that we thought were going to be the strongest comps and as such the most contested may not be that.
Yeah, we see Shredder going out there, and Azu's looking decent. I think that Refresher Orb on Siren is going to play a huge factor with the comp that we're seeing. Like you said, we don't have any knights or mage comps. We have a lot of warriors and beasts. So up against those specific comps, Refresher Orb Siren is a huge counter to those. Also just one away from a 3-star Swordman. Yeah,
I mean, that's a big pickup. It's not one of the main heroes that you look at for as far as a star carry, but when you do get the 3-star, just the attack damage, then the damage from the spin it can be very, very big. And it's not exactly an AoE on the level of a mage, but it is still good in the late game when you have that many more units that you want to be attacking.
Yeah, it is an interesting twist on the Hunter build that Azu is playing right now. He has double Razor Claws out there, which we've typically seen a lot of God of War frontline with Doom and Pirate Captain. We've seen that. And then we also have that built-in Warlock bonus with a Venomancer thrown in. So he's opting out of the Venomancer and going with the Razor Claw instead, which is kind of cool to see a little bit of a different variation from a build that we've seen already.
Azu staying alive for one more round, still 10 HP. We're looking at the top 4 of the final round of Group A. Hosanna in the lead once again. DAZN at 2nd and Q in 3rd. But even though those 2 players are doing so well, DAZN and Q, it's likely too little too late. But looking at the strength of Hosanna's board, he's got a couple of 3-stars for him right now. A couple of good items on those units as well for just like the frontline tankiness of keeping those 3-stars alive.
Yeah, he does have Warrior Beast, 4 beasts, 6 warriors. It's kind of the traditional Warrior Beast build that we've been kind of talking about. The only thing that's a little interesting is the Unicorn in there that he's still actually valuing, and he's been valuing that for quite some time now. And it's been working out for him.
It's been working out, but this time around, what is he going to replace? He's just trying to get that 3-star. Wow, the name is actually completely escaping me. The fish guy, whatever.
Abyssal Guard.
Abyssal Guard, there we go.
Yeah. Fish fork, yeah.
Fish fork,
Yeah.
Mr. Fish fork. Yeah, he's trying to wait for that. Azu does go out though. We missed his death to Hosanna just this time around. We thought he was really strong, but then, just in the blink of an eye, we go down 2-3. Disowned also loses, but stays alive for what? He loses the
some
round,
gold here,
but he
though, to
stays
roll
alive.
down for Devastator.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it, man. He's level 9. That's a bigger chance for that as well. He's got to make it. Nope, he's only finding Soul Reapers. Not able to find a single Devastator.
Unfortunate.
Selling them. Yeah, and it's not even worthwhile to roll because if he does find it, he's not going to be able to buy it. So again, it's called a gamble for a reason. He's got 3-star goblins, but without the Devastator, it can only be so powerful, and he doesn't even have a 9th unit to put in because he was unable to find it. We'll see how strong this board is against Hosanna. Looks like it's dealing some damage, but not going to be enough. The ghost ship from the pirate captain basically saying the final words, and that's going to be it for Disowned. He's going out in 3rd place, and this means that it's Hosanna and Curie left for the top spot. And Curie, he's doing well against Disowned. He's going to stay alive for at least one more round. He's actually going to take the 1st place because Hosanna lost his fight against Q.
Yeah, I think if Hosanna can actually get first this game, he would clutch his spot at 1st place for this group.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Hosanna did actually lose to Q, which has that Hunter build. Just a little bit better, I think, than maybe Azu's was. Oh, this is an interesting look here at 2 boards at the same time. This is going to be...
Interesting. He found the 3-star of the Abyssal Guard right now, so that's going to be an even bigger advantage for him. Going up against the Dragon, trying to find the final piece of the puzzle. This is basically the last item that either of these players are going to get. This isn't going to be the same back and forth slog that we saw in the very first round because the health advantage is not there for either of these players to sort of churn through. It's going to be basically 2 or 3 rounds, even if it does go back and forth on both of the boards.
Yeah, it's a little interesting look here. It's obviously Q versus Hosanna, little Beast Warrior action versus Hunter Beast Warrior action. So very similar builds, just with a slight variation overall. I do think I want to give the upper hand still to Hosanna with how things are playing out right now. He's got a couple stronger 3-stars than Q does.
I mean, yeah, quite. If he's got 3 compared to the 1, and so that could easily be enough. Tentacles come out for a little bit of CC. Ghost ships come out on both boards. Is it enough for Q to keep himself alive right now?
That Aegis bonus with the Soul Reaper is actually shredding through those warriors pretty quickly.
Ooh, but Berserker though, going Berserk on Q's board, and actually he's going to take a little bit of damage from that, and Hosanna wins on both sides. It's different units alive. And, I mean, in a way, that shows the strength of the composition because it's not just reliant on one carry for the win. It's multiple sources of that damage. Look, hey, look, we found the Devastator.
Yeah.
Not exactly the player that was trying to find it, but we got there. We got there eventually.
Adds in a second 2-star Berserker here, and that's going to be his 9th piece. Throwing that in, and if you're not using Poisonous Worm, you don't have Warlock bonus, so you don't need to add in an extra Warlock. So he actually goes ahead and does the second 2-star Berserker instead, which is going to add actually a huge amount of damage.
It's good damage. Ghost Ship comes out on Hosanna's board. It's going to come out on Q's board as well. On both sides actually on that board, but is that stun going to be enough? Q's going to be taking a lot of damage. His army, he's faring a little better on Hosanna's board, but it doesn't matter because he's also going to die first, and that damage coming out, it's going to be big, and I think it's going to be Hosanna winning yet another round for himself. I believe that's 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's actually insane for Hosanna to come back, and not somebody that we were talking about the first round, but game 2 and game 3, absolutely dominate from Hosanna.
I mean, yeah, this is big. He's going to be taking this group in 1st place as well, and he's definitely going to be a player that all these other groups are going to be looking at when we do go into the semifinal. Winning 2 of 3 games is a really huge win-loss ratio.
Especially when you look at Monty, and you know he gets first. He travels all the way here, gets 1st place, but then he is not able to carry through with the victories.
Our American boy,
I know, and he's out. But for you fans of the United States of America, all hope is not lost because Shredded according to my unofficial calculations, very hastily done and scribbled on a piece of paper.
Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite calculations.
Shredded is going to be top 4. So what I have unofficially here is Hosanna first,
Okay.
Azu second, Hosanna with 21, Azu with 19 in second, Shredded in third with 14, and Shake in fourth with 13, which is pretty interesting.
3 seconds.
Between Shredded and Shake, you know, neither of them necessarily like were winning, but they were just consistent.
Yeah.
Trying to stay in the top half. They were both battling kind of fourth and fifth, but just such a very tiny margins of error.
Shake going into that last game knew exactly what he needed to do, and he was rolling heavily right before Monty rolled, and I think that gave him that slight advantage to give him exactly 5% HP or 3 seconds more than Monty had to clutch him that very, very, very close fourth place.
Yeah, it's just looking. I feel like we're kind of, or at least I'm beating a dead horse at this point, just talking about health as a resource. But when you look in just regular matchmaking, a lot of the best players will lose streak a heavy amount early on. You can't do that here. We just saw 3 rounds where that got punished heavily every single round. The margins of mistakes, the margin of error of losing 1 round after a lose streak is huge and could have easily just torn everyone, like lose your spot because of it. But here's going to be the full match results of round 3, including the full synergies, full team compositions.
Yeah, and you know, DK leaving a little to be desired here. He was always kind of in the bottom 3. Unfortunately for him, there we see Monty in 7th after getting first in the first round in the first game of this best of 3. It's got to be tough for him. But then, as you see going up, Shake, then Shredded, who both, I believe, unofficially have enough. And I think we're about to get into our final official standings here as we see the points breakdown from that match 3 of 3. And I love how, you know, as you guys are mentioning, it's giving us a nice indication of what's to come this weekend, especially your point about the Glacier Knights not really being utilized that much in that last game that we just saw. So it's curious to see all the different strategies. And here we see, okay, I think these are official results. Monte just barely finishing outside that top 4. Once again, the top 4 move on. And Hosanna, Azu, Shredded, and Shake. 2 Chinese players, you got a South Korean player and a American player advancing from Group A.
To say something about Shredded, though, he did say in his interview that he liked to be aggressive early on, and I think that goes back to your point of saying that lose streaking might not be the smartest decision because it kind of wasn't the best option for Monty in game 2, which kind of left him in a bad position. Also, Q lost streak pretty much every single game with the exception of the last game as well. So it's something where Shredded spent that gold early, got himself a couple 2 stars, and then started to build up economy after, where it's not typically the best necessarily strategy on like a ranked ladder, but in a tournament play like this when you're up against so many good players that know how to punish you if you are lose streaking, it's actually not bad.
So looking at the groups, talking to some of the players, this group wasn't one of the groups that was considered like the hard group to be in. I believe it was a different group that a lot of the players are calling the group of death. But after watching this, there's something to be said about the difficulty of being the very first group of the very first auto battler major. We came in with completely different expectations than what we saw. The groups that are going to be coming up following this have learned a lot from this first group just about contesting synergies and what to expect from everyone else. I expect. And so this was actually a hard task.
Favorites don't really mean that you're moving on. So we called this not the group of death. But possibly Group B, I think, is actually the group of death that has so many good players. But those good players could easily just fall behind a couple games like Q did in this one and be out of it.
Is there anyone in particular that is a favorite for you guys from Group A? You know, whether it's Hosanna or whether it's Azu?
It's
Hosanna
both
and Azu, both for me were kind of not somebody that I was super familiar with going into this. And after their display of skill, Hosanna and Azu, like you said, Azu went Knights 2 games in a row and then actually switched things up a little bit going into game 3. So it was nice to see him play something else. But at the same time, those are 2 kind of unknowns for me going into it.
The fact that he got 3 seconds though is a lot. Hosanna won 2 of the 3 games. Like that's also huge as well. So just both of those players alone You can't look at anyone else.
Yeah, and especially Azu, for me, with how he was fighting in the first game, right, where he was super low and then he was fighting back against Monty, that was really cool to see. And then to see the charge he was taking in Game 3, where he was like, he went off to an incredible start there in Game 3 and then ended up getting top 2. That's pretty impressive stuff. And I think one of y'all mentioned seeding, which is like, that's so important. When it's $1 million tournament and you can set yourself up as good as possible, I really love how Azu in particular just kept his pedal on the metal or kept his foot on the gas, and he did not leave any slack at all, which is really cool to see. I think that's a championship mentality. Really just do as much as you can to give yourself the best advantage possible going into the next round.
Even though he knew going into round or game
that
3
he was like,
that he was already
fine.
he was already good.
Kind of chilling,
exactly.
You know, because of how well he did in the first 2 games. So really cool to see all these dynamics unfold here in this $1 million tournament. I think probably the biggest heartbreak is going to be Monty for a lot of people there.
Like I said, definitely a fan favorite for the United States as well. Huge streaming personality. And I'm sure he's going to have a lot to think about for the next few days as he's watching, and probably taking it as a learning experience. It's in my thought, I think this is his first actual professional scene. So just taking it all in, learning from the other players. Yeah. So I think he still can take something away from this if he has the right attitude about it.
Also, though, just Kiri and Disowned, who came second and third respectively on the last game, still wasn't enough. That alone, just that moment of performing so well, finally too little, too late, is also very unfortunate for those players as well as their fans.
Well, we're going to keep the tournament going here. Cameron Davis and Claytano, it's been wonderful listening to you guys. I think y'all have a little break here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will be back for Group D, and I think you're back for Group C.
Yeah.
And we're going to be inviting Yoel Larson and Excoundrel up here onto the stage. Of course, my name is Axel Toss, and you're watching the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational. $1 million on the line. 32 of the best players in the world, now -4, as we're about to advance into the next group. Stay tuned.